Hello, lads and ladies, and welcome back. We are back on the channel, League One Roundup from Tuesday night's games. The football is back, which is good to see. Unfortunately, Her Majesty the Queen passed away last week. Football was paused, but it is back now. And some great results in League One last night. Some big games, some big results away from home. Going into Saturday, some mouth-watering ties at the top, which we will talk about later on in the stream. I'm going to discuss all 12 teams, all 12 games from last night, as well. All 24 teams will get a good feature as well. We'll have a look at the League One table going into the weekend, and also the start every team has made in the first 8 games as well. Are they performing to where we thought they would be, or are they underperforming a little bit as well? But to join me, we've got him in. Jake, very happy as me. I like me as well. I was a bit worried for his voice last night when I saw the result and I saw the atmosphere. Jake, how we doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm getting there now because I've had a day at work. So, yeah, long day, but yeah, nights for last night for both of us are why you go and watch your football club. Obviously, you travelling however many miles in your minibus, and we travel, and we obviously played Derby at home. So, yeah, no, my voice is just about hanging in there, and I think I'll be able to stretch to give you an hour tonight, I would have thought.
Well, if not, we can sub you off after half an hour. Just give me the little nod, and we can always go and get
I'm
some
off.
from 4
I've
now.
had enough.
There he is. Again, we will discuss that later on as well. The minibus comment we'll get to in a little bit, I'm sure, as well. Tony's coming. Posh 0, Fleetwood 1, Imps 2, Derby 0. Is this going to be the best stream ever? I hope so. Discuss nothing else. Well, I wish I could, but with another 23 clubs in this league as well. Blue Army, we are top of the league. Lots of Ipswich fans flooding in with the comments as well. They are on a brilliant run at this moment in time, doing really, really well. If you can see and hear me okay, let us know in the comments. Love the channel, boys. Early question for you. Who do you think out of the top 6 has had the toughest run so far? It's a bit tough question because I'm going back off memory. You think Bolton are in the top 6, Jay? I mentioned this last week. First 8 games, off memory, I think they played Plymouth. Or were they meant to play Plymouth on Saturday? They played Ipswich away from home. They played Wickham at home. They played Sheffield Wednesday at home. What else have they had? They've just had from memory, they've had a lot of tougher sides as well.
Plymouth
had a difficult start.
Plymouth, I think, have had a tough start.
Plymouth.
They've played Barnsley, Peterborough twice, Charlton, Bolton, Derby, and Oxford, and then they've got Pompey on Saturday. So it gets no easier for the Green Army, but I'm sure they're looking forward to their little derby on Saturday.
But one thing I will say, I don't think there's an easy game in League One. I really don't. I think it's that tight in League One, and I said it before. I will say it just quickly before we get on with the results. What I love about this league is that you've got fans, like stadiums of different sizes and shape. You've got teams of different budgets and different qualities. Some can play, in my opinion, in the Championship, in my opinion. A lot of players in the top 6, top 8 clubs could easily squeeze in there. And there's future Premier League players in some of these squads, in my opinion, as well, maybe the next couple of years as well. And then you've got teams at the bottom who scrape and go and get results against Derby and Peterborough last night. And it's like, it takes a big amount of effort to do that. And the problem is, we can do it. They do it over 46 games. We can do it for 90 minutes. For me, in League One, that is a difference, Jake.
Yeah, I'm genuinely going to say this. I think it's probably the most enjoyable league out of the 4 that we've got professionally, purely because anyone can beat anyone. The Championship, you've got the teams with the budgets, like the Premier League parachute payments. The Premier League, you've got your big clubs. League 2 is also very similar, but in terms of League 2, you've got 4 promotion spots, whereas in League 2 only 3 teams go up, not 4. So yeah, for me, I'm enjoying my time in League One, Ben. I am enjoying it. It's much better than the National League. I can promise you that.
So hard to get out of. I do agree, because I think the size of these clubs in League One are huge. And we'll start off with that. A team that will be looking to challenge, I don't think at this moment they're good enough, in my opinion, played Port Vale yesterday. And Port Vale had a steady start. And someone else had a steady start there. It's Ellis Harrison, who grabbed his 3rd goal and 6 for them. That's a 1-2 record. That's the 4th point away from home and the 9th point on the board as well. Slowly ticking on points. You know, they're getting points where they should be. Obviously, I think Port Vale would look at the first 8 games, Jake, and be disappointed that they haven't got a little bit more. I think they were slightly unlucky against Portsmouth. They should have beat Cheltenham at home, being 2-1 up with a couple of minutes to go. You look at that already, that's 3 points better off, and all of a sudden you're ticking nicely on, and you're halfway. You're a quarter of the way to safety mark. But it's been a fair old start for Vale.
Yeah, no, Vale have quite impressed me actually. They've only lost 3 games out of the 8 so far, which is decent for one of the newly promoted sides to say that they've played some pretty difficult teams. But no, going to Barnsley, who are a team that are fancied this season, especially by myself and probably by yourself as well. To go to Oakwell is going to be no easy feat, especially under Michael Duff, and Michael Duff teams tend to have a pretty good home record. So really good point on the road for them. Ellis Harrison having a similar impact to joining Port Vale as they did to Fleetwood, from what I can recall. When it came into Fleetwood, scored a couple, seems to be doing well for them, and I think he's going to be so important for them going forward because he's a goal scorer at this level who is proven, and you don't really find those. And for him to be at a club like Port Vale, they'll be thanking the lucky stars that they can attract players like him, because if he scores 10, 12 goals, that might just be enough to swap that relegation finish to 20th place or something like that.
Yeah, agree. And Barnsley, slow start, but the thing is with Barnsley, we just mentioned that what we've done yesterday. Barnsley went to Hillsborough and won 2-0 and were brilliant on the day and deserved the win, and they just can't back it up. Is this a sign of maybe there are a couple of players short? I know Kitchen got the goal who I really liked. I think it was at Forest Green Rovers. They've only won 1 out of 4 at home, and that will be frustration. Although they're not losing games at home, they should be beating sides like Port Vale, and I hate using the word sides like.
Yeah, throw in a Papa John's trophy defeat as well in there to Lincoln the other week, 3-0.
It's bad enough hearing about Tom Opera at Wembley 18.
Yeah.
2 years ago.
Yeah, no, listen, mate. Yeah, for Barnsley, you're disappointed, aren't you? Purely because they were a relegated side. They were pretty decent in the Championship, not last year, but the year before. Yeah, you're disappointed given the fact that they've just got some money in for a few of the players, haven't they? They played really well at Wednesday, but good teams who are going to finish in the playoffs will back that up. This is why Barnsley, we don't think, are going to be part of the top 6 conversation, purely because they're a little bit short and they don't have that ability yet. Obviously, there's plenty of time. There's 38 games left in the season for them to grow that trait. So never say never, but it's worrying signs at the moment if they want to go straight back up.
Yeah, agree. League One clubs, by the way, I worked out today, have a minimum of 41 games still to be played. And that is without going further on in the Papa John's Trophy, without FA Cup runs or replays. It could stretch to some clubs having nearly 50 games in League One. So this season is by almost just started. You're probably just passing the mile 1 of a marathon. There's a long way to be played, but a good point on the road for Vale. Ellis Harrison notching again, but Portsmouth brilliant as ever, Jake. 2-0 away from home. Colby Bishop up and running, but Burton still yet to score at home. No manager, no bounce. Obviously, Dino's gone in there, a little bit, been given the job initially, but it's going to be made permanent, basically. A bit like what Stephen Quinn did last year at Fleetwood.
Yeah, just on this game, obviously, Dino going into the job at Burton. He's been there in the setup for 18 months, 2 years, so he knows what they're like. I think they're probably going to work harder for Dino. He wants to be there. He wants to prove himself as a manager at this level. Don't think he's had the opportunity for a while. Obviously, I know he had jobs at Stevenage and Oldham, etc. So I'm sure in the coming weeks, Burton are going to improve because they have a manager that wants to be there. The players will want to play for the manager. I'm absolutely sure that Burton will start picking up a few performances. So expect that. You turn it around, look at Pompey.
Brilliant.
Phenomenal. And I've watched Tom's video, 4-0. Fantastic video from Tom again. No surprise. But his side is so enjoyable to watch at the moment. That firstly because of that away kit, Ben. Have you seen it? It is beautiful. Gorgeous. A gorgeous away kit. But then on the pitch as well, they're even better. Colby Bishop wears a magic hat, so I've been told, scoring a back heel, what a goal, and then an own goal as well. But Owen Dale contributing as well. Pompey had just won this season. Danny and Nighy say they want 3 windows. They've had 3 windows. Look at where they are now. Do you know what I mean? They've been backed. They've got what they want. There might be 1 or 2 short, but the Cowleys will always moan about being 1 or 2 players short because that's in their DNA. But they'll get them up. And there's just this whole feeling. It feels to me, Ben, it's like watching us when we won League Two. Pompey are just going, and they're chugging along. So for me, Portsmouth have to be automatic title contenders at the moment because Danny Cowley teams know how to win trophies. And to be honest with you, yes, Ipswich have had a really good start to the season, but at the minute, my money is going to be on Pompey and Danny Cowley.
Yeah, agree. For me, Portsmouth brilliant. They've got energy. They play with, they've got style. And when you've got that, and you know one thing I really like about Portsmouth at the minute, when he first came into League One, it was electric. It really was. It was hard to go there. And I'll be honest, for 18 months, I went there and I wasn't afraid anymore. I was like, we can get something to do. Last year I went there, we were 3-0. I thought, job done. We drew 3-3, like. You never think you've won it at Fratton Park, I'll tell you that now. But the atmosphere flattened for a little while, and it feels like they've got the city back. They feel like they've got their identity back. Danny Cowley has given them that. And if he gets Portsmouth up, that is a huge moment in their club's history. They've won FA Cups. They've been in the Premier League. They've been in European competitions. But what they've been through, if he can be the man to get back into the Championship, I tell you something, they'll love him forever. And he'll literally get the keys to the city because what he's done. And you see it, they're packing out away ends on Tuesday night. The fans are mental. Really loud. They're getting behind the boys. You can see smiles on the players' faces. When, you talk about will they be getting tired playing Saturday, Tuesday. When you win games and you're on an unbeaten run, it's just easy. And it goes next. But there's going to be bumps in the road. There are going to be difficult moments. It's how they get through them. But I think they've got the players to deal with it, Jake.
Yeah, well, Danny Cowley's going to have a few sets of keys if he's got the keys to Portsmouth as well. He's certainly got the keys to this city from his time up here. But Danny, like I said, it reminds me so much of our League Two title win because we started off like an absolute rocket.
You won League Two under Danny Cowley, did you?
Yeah, might have told you.
You never mention it.
Yeah, but we started off so strongly and then it just went going. We had a low point, but they're so relentless. And I think the best thing about the Cowley brothers, where they do best, is when a club are perhaps distant from the fans. The supporters in the club aren't on the same wavelength. They come in, they completely nullify anything. They speak to the dinner ladies, they speak to the kit men, everybody, and they get them all on song. And ultimately, a couple of years down the line, it all comes to fruition. And yeah, Danny Cowley's a top bloke. I absolutely adore him, and I'm so glad that he's found a job where he's being treated fairly because I don't think he got a fair crack of the whip at Huddersfield. But I'll be so proud of him if he gets promoted, him and Nicky. And obviously good to see the Nicky Cowley fist bump return as well, but I very much was a fan of that during his time at Lincoln. So, yeah, Pompey definitely looking up and I think almost a dead cert to be in the Championship next season.
Agree. We'll go on to Charlton now. Good point away for Forest Green Round Wazoo. After a poor run, they picked up 4 points from the last 2 games. Just outside the relegation zone, they beating Accrington at home and going away to Charlton's always a difficult place to go. Charlton's still unbeaten. At home, they've won 2, drawn 2. Blackett Taylor with his second goal of the season. Again, going through these games, Charlton, and we're 8 games in, and I'm seeing so much last year where they're wasting opportunities and they're dropping 2 points here, 2 points there. And at the end of the year, it can cost them, really.
Yeah, you're worried about Charlton, aren't you? Because they've had a lot of transition over the last couple of months with the new manager and a different style of play to what they've been previously used to. Obviously got off to a good start last night. 1-0 up in 10 minutes. You expect a squad of Charlton's quality to go on and really kill the game in the first half. But fair play to Forest Green. They come and did a job on us a few weeks ago. They've done the same thing to Charlton, and Connor Wickham, give him a chance, he's gonna put it away probably. So yeah, good point for Forest Green. Charlton, I think, will be kicking themselves a little bit. But yeah, I don't know actually. I've not seen the highlights, but I've heard Rakasaki was pretty good again last night, so we'll have to wait and see how he gets on. But a real good signing for them.
Agree. Where do you want to go next to?
Well, if we're going alphabetically, Ben, I'm going to go to Cheltenham, and I get to talk about my good friend Daniel Unlundalu, who had a really poor loan spell at Lincoln last year. But I don't know if you've seen the goal, Ben, that he scored. Absolute worldie on the left-hand side of the penalty area into the top corner. And he's going on a bit of a run. I think that's maybe 4 goals he's scored in League One. 3 and 4. Dan Unlundalu. If you'd have told a Lincoln fan that a year ago, we'd have laughed at you. But no, really good finish. Suits playing up front of another man. Sounds like he's in bed with him. With Alfie May, who obviously also scored.
He was dropped, Alfie May, as well. And he, not been performing to his normal level, dropped, came on 60 minutes and scored a goal. So, good impact there.
Yeah, that's all you want from a striker, especially when the game is tied at 1 apiece. Obviously, his namesake scoring for Cambridge, so that's quite nice to look at the goal sheet. But no, it's a big win for Cheltenham, really, isn't it? Because everyone's sort of almost written them off completely, given the fact they've lost the manager. So big for Wade Elliott, big for Cheltenham Town Football Club. Cambridge, Ben, I'm not sure about you. I think we're disappointed again. Similar to Barnsley, really, that they've not kicked on the result that they had on Saturday against us a couple of weeks ago. Be disappointed to go to Cheltenham and get beat. So, yeah, I don't know what your thoughts are, but a deserved win for Cheltenham by the highlights that I've seen.
Yeah, Cheltenham obviously lost the first 3 games. A couple of good results. I think it's 2 wins, 2 draws, and a defeat in there. And the defeat was at Oxford at home, where slightly unlucky, a penalty in there changes the game late in the game when you're pushing for an equaliser. But 8 points from the last 5 games. That's what Cheltenham did last year, really, where they got to the 55, 60 point mark. If you look at expected goals, they're pretty much level with each other. If you look at chances created, they're pretty much similar clubs. The difference is that Cambridge have been really good at home. They've won 4 out of 4 at home. However, Cambridge got the worst away record in League One, where they've only got a point away from home. They have gone to some tough places away from home. I think they've been to Charlton, they've been to Portsmouth away, where they got beat. Now Cheltenham in there as well. So it is difficult, but good result for Cheltenham. For me, excellent win. That's what you want to see. You want to be beating those types of sides. Adam May has played a lot of football. Now, I think that's his 10th goal in all competitions for the football club in 106 games. So, good to see him getting on the score sheet as well. They'll bounce back. Good at home. They need to keep on with the home form, but that away form needs to improve a little bit if you want to, maybe push on from last year. We'll talk about Ipswich. Brilliant again. We'll talk about Bristol Rovers in a minute because I don't want to take the shine off this Ipswich side. Let's just talk through a few stats. Ipswich, 8 games, 6 wins, 2 draws, 20 points. Sheffield United became the 23rd team in the Championship to hit 20 points after 9. Ipswich and Portsmouth both at 20 after 8, 2.5 points a game. They've kept 6 clean sheets. They've won 5 out of the last 6, keeping 5 clean sheets as well. Chaplin scored his 6th goal of the season yesterday. Another good landmark for him. He's 66% of the way for his goal tally last year. But one man I do want to mention is another goal scorer last year, Lee Evans, who doesn't get many goals, but his contribution this year, in my opinion, I want to say, from what I've seen, what I've heard, the little things he does in games, he's been the best player in League One so far this season for me. You look at him, I think he's got 86 pass completion. 83% on tackles. He scored a couple of goals. He's assisted a couple of goals. And what he does, he allows Chaplin, he allows Burns, he allows the freedom players who are going to win your games of football to go and express yourself. Without him in that side, for me, they aren't as good. And if you lose him, I think they're a bit more vulnerable. I think they concede a few more goals. They may not score as many goals because he is the glue that helps other players as well. He's not fancy. He won't do things that you've never seen before, but he makes you proud, and you can see, he'll give everything for the shirt. He'll pump others up. He's got experience and brilliant performance from that man as well. Brilliant win. I think they scored in the 8 games. He scored 16 goals. They conceded 4. That is 2 goals a game, half a goal against per game. Unbelievable, Jake.
Yeah, Ipswich, like Pompey, look like they're on a bit of a roll, and you mentioned Evans in there. A midfield two of Evans and Morsey is not bad at this level at all, is it? I think Evans, if I'm wrong, whilst he's been at Ipswich, has had the armband a few times, so he's got that side of his game. He's a real leader, natural born leader on the pitch, I'm sure. But Ipswich fans will be able to tell me he's out there demanding of the players what he expects, his standards. And then, like you say, he just sits there and lets the players like Chaplin last year, like Selena, etc., go on and do what they're best at and go and affect the game in an offensive way. And a really good win for Ipswich. Again, you're talking about these clean sheets. They went on that mad run towards the back end of last year, didn't they, under McKenna, where they kept a load of clean sheets, and they just continued from where they left off last season. And this time around, Ipswich don't look like they're here to make up the numbers in the top half, whereas they have done in the last couple of years. This time, you're really, really expecting them to go on and probably do 2 or 3 better and probably finish in the autos with Pompey.
Yeah, agree. And there's been a comment there saying McKenna's made him even fitter and he's half a yard quicker. It's like Tazafoli at Wickham, who's lost 5 kg, and he said he's doing things that he's never been able to do before from, a new plan. And it's good to see. Bristol Rovers, 2 players sent off. For me, they've lost the last 3 games. You look at who they played in that run. But, they've gone to Portsmouth, they've gone to Ipswich, and they've gone to Barnsley. 3 sides that you wouldn't really expect them to get much on, but they've been convinced, I think, they've been well beat in every game, but Joey Barton will obviously tell you otherwise.
Yeah, Joey Barton's not been my friend this week in the media. I've not enjoyed his comments about Lincoln. Obviously, I'm delighted with the 2 red card for the two centre halves of Bristol Rovers, given they've got 1 fit centre half for the game on Saturday at the Mem, which I'm really looking forward to going down to. But yeah, Pompey, Barnsley, and Ipswich are all teams that you expect to finish above Bristol Rovers this year. Yes, you're disappointed to get battered in all of those games, but Bristol Rovers have just come up. I think they'll be happy to just survive this year. So there are winnable games on the horizon for Bristol Rovers, and I'm sure they'll pick up some points, hopefully after Saturday.
Agree. And there's no wonder why Ipswich are challenged at the top of the league. They've got the highest expected goals in League One on 11.3. They've scored 16. And when you do put chance and you do create chance after chance, in the end, the best team normally goes up at the end of the year. Now, before I ask you about the next game, I'm going to go and make myself a cup of tea. I'll just let you talk for 5 minutes because I think you'll be talking all day at this rate. Lincoln City 2, Derby County 0. Derby County of the Championship, Lincoln a couple of years ago were in the National League. And, this is a pinch myself moment. I saw the atmosphere there at the bank and it's just spine tingling. And, I said many times, Lincoln win their club so many points. You're unbeaten at home as well. Diamond up and running as well. And Ben House, I think it must be in the name, scoring on the score sheet as well. But Derby County are the only side in League One yet to score away from home, although they've got an expected goal difference of like 5.57. I don't think there's going to some teams make out, but it wasn't about Derby yesterday. It was about Lincoln's work ethic, the spirit, how far they ran for each other, and it was a special night under the lights.
Yeah, it reminded me, and I do apologise, Wednesday fans, of the game against Sheffield Wednesday last season.
No, can you not go one show without winding them up?
No, in the fact that Derby brought a sold-out allocation. It was a big game. Lincoln hadn't won at home so far this season, hadn't won for a while, coming off the back of a poor performance. And suddenly that came out. I think every player in our team ran over 10K, ran 11K. Mark Kennedy came out and said, but like you said, I'll touch on Derby first. I thought they were pretty poor. They kept the ball well, tidy. Conor Hurahan in midfield. Max Bird's a good player. I like the lad Dobbin on the left-hand side, very direct. But in the final third, just really poor. Collins obviously had a goal disallowed for offside. And when they brought McGoldrick on and Barkhazen on, they looked a bit better, not going to lie. McGoldrick, obviously a player that should never be playing at this level. But, yeah, sorry, Wednesday fans. And ultimately, like you said, it wasn't about Derby. It was about Lincoln and how we've pulled together. Jack Dyer, was it a penalty? Probably not. But you're happy to have it, aren't you, against Derby? Stuck it away nicely.
Right, before you continue, by the way, Weren't you crying about when I said something similar to you about Mr. Paddy Lane's goal?
Hey, yeah,
When
no,
I
yeah, but
mentioned
it was,
Paddy Lane's
yeah,
goal,
right,
you went,
yeah,
no,
no,
it's not in the rules of. So in the rules of football, you only won 1-0.
well, yeah, well, we still
Like you
won the
said to
game.
me.
Still won the game though, wouldn't we? So, no, and do you know what? I'm really happy for Ben House as well, because Ben House has been in and out of the team recently. He's been played in central midfield, which isn't his position. Come in, starts as the 9 on Tuesday night, and bags a really good finish. So,
That's what you
yeah,
want to say.
I mean, I'll stop talking about it now. But yeah, when I was at uni, Derby were pushing for the Premier League, and we were in the conference, and now we've just beaten them in a competitive fixture. It really is sort of a night that makes you love football. Like, absolute, like we both had a great night, Nappers, and
Yeah.
we'll come on to that. But yeah, just I walked away from the ground, literally head on my hands on my head, going, "What have I just watched?" Like, just so proud of them.
Yeah.
Just so proud.
Yeah, that's what you want to see, Jay. Or is he gone?
No,
Still
I'm
here?
here. I'm here. I'm
I
here.
think Jake's gone.
Am I? He's joking.
I think it's breaking up a little bit, but I can hear you just.
Brilliant.
Oh, you're back now, unfortunately. And so if there's a few connection problems, I do apologise about that. Yeah, brilliant result for you. I'm buzzing for you. You know, when you get those results, they mean a lot to you, and they make the journeys in football, don't they? And yeah, Derby County's still got a lot of work to do. Put it that way. I got called out because I said I don't think they're anything special. They're a good side. They've got good individuals. They haven't got a good team. For me, you know, Lincoln, they've been together a little bit longer. Yes, I know they're a bit of a newer group, but they've got players that have come together to play against you. You're going to have to realise, Derby, there's going to be 23 cup finals, home and away, 46 games. You're going to have to be used to that. And Lincoln won that game because they were more up for it, and it's simple as that. But if you are new to the channel, guys, please give him a please give the channel a subscription as well. Give the stream a like. It does help and bring new people into the channel as well. So if you could like and subscribe, and go over to Jake's Stay West podcast as well, where you can see reactions from all the games as well, and you can see previews. I don't know why you'd want to go and see him more than once a week, but you know, some people do. Go and subscribe to him. He deserves it as well. But brilliant result for Bolton. Dion Shaw's got his first goal. Yes, it was from the penalty spot. And Gethin Jones, who's been playing right in the back three. For me, I think that's his best position, really, because I think he's not quick enough to be a right back. Connor Bradley's going to play there. He can play right centre half, where his game knowledge is brilliant. They won 4 of the first 8. That was actually their first win away from home as well. And now they're in the playoffs, which is really good to see. A clean sheet away from home. MK Dons out, they look a shadow of themselves. When you lose your couple of good players, you know, they've lost Twine, they've lost Darling, they lost a lad to Huddersfield as well. Obviously, Corbin moved on, a couple of loanees that were good for them moved on as well. They just don't look themselves. They're in the relegation zone for a reason. They've got a really low expected goals. You know, the chances creating is one of the worst in League One as well. I said that I think they're in a transition period after they beat Morecambe. I went, I think that you'll have good days and they'll have bad days. And they're having more bad days than good days at the moment, where they just can't latch on to something. And Bolton won it because I think they're more of a spirited group. They've got more, you know, more behind them now. And I think that because they've got a little bit more spirit, they've got a little bit more confidence behind them. That's why they won that game. MK Dons look a shadow of what they did last year.
Yeah, I wonder if Liam Manning's regretting not taking the job at QPR over the summer that he was supposed to be offered. Yeah, MK Dons. What do you put it down to? Do you put it down to Manning believing his own hype last season, and he was linked with all these jobs and had talks with all these football clubs? Is it down to that, or is it down to the fact that he wasn't properly backed in the transfer window? We say this most times when they come off a defeat, but you lose your two of your best players. You need to replace them, and you've got good money for it as well. The issue is everyone knows how much they got for Scott Twine. Everyone knows how much they got for Harry Darling. It's probably difficult, isn't it, as a recruitment team to go out and find your replacement, because they'll know you've got a bit of money and they'll slap an extra zero on, or they'll go, oh yeah, someone's just bid 50k, like 250k higher. Do you mind just going up so you can secure the player? So I think it's been an awful summer at MK Dons. They look like they played poorly. I think the first shot on target came pretty late into the game. Just really worried, really, for MK Dons. They've taken so many steps backwards to what they were, where they were this time last year. So for Bolton, though, a really good win, and they're showing why I backed them to finish in the playoffs this year. And they're a settled group, aren't they? They have been for nearly a year now. So really not surprised at all that Bolton are really showcasing their abilities. And although it's Ian Evatt, I'm happy that they are, because we don't like the bloke.
Jake's gone. Jake's gone. Again, sorry about that, guys. We'll get him back in as soon as we can to see if he is back in. Yeah, I think what he was just saying there, again, brilliant result for Bolton yesterday. MK Dons, not at the races. I do agree about a little bit about how they're playing at the moment and how flat they are, and they haven't recruited well. And I think the manager believes in his own hype, first of all. I think that the second of all, as well, they work back. Third of all, I think that they've been a little bit found out the playing style as well. So I think they're a bit slow in possession. I think that sometimes he can be a bit lethargic. He is back now. Jake, can you see me and can you hear me?
Yeah. I've gone on to mobile data, so if I'm running up a bill, I shall send an invoice.
You carry on with that just while I was going to sort something.
What I'll do is I'll send an invoice to Mr. Cod's Vlogs, and he can pay for my mobile my bill if my connections. But I think it's you, Ben. It's not me.
I've sorted it now. I've sorted it.
I'm glad you've sorted it, mate. But if I get a high phone bill, you shall be receiving an invoice on behalf. Just be careful.
Yeah, I will be. Sorry about that, guys. We are back now.
Welcome.
I said about MK Dons, I think they've been found out a little bit. They play very slowly, don't they? And if you can press them, Exeter did it, Bolton did it. I think you'll get found out. I think the next 5 games will be very tricky for Liam Manningham. You know, from all of a sudden you can get a championship job, you might be out of a job yourself. So, again, we are back. Do you want to talk about Morecambe Wednesday and how much you like Sheffield Wednesday?
Yeah, I love them, mate. Absolutely love Morecambe. What a football club. Really, really love the work they're doing. No, look, last night shows you the gulf in quality between the top end and the bottom end of this league, really, I think. No doubt about it, Wednesday were the better team. Probably should have and could have scored before they actually did on 70 minutes. Pardon me. Like you said to me, Nappers, that's, what was it, 2 corners and a second man goal, a second's goal that they scored. Windass, Byers and Smith coming on the score sheet. Only played 3 games so far this season for Wednesday. Thanks for that, Ben. He managed to get off the mark finally. I think that'd be massive for Smith, purely because when he goes on a roll at this level, he goes and scores in 7, 8, 9, 10 matches consecutively, and that'd be massive for him, getting that duck off his back. And that'd be good for him. Obviously, Wednesday just looked class all night, I think, from what I can tell. But you were in for Morecambe. Obviously, like you say, I think they've got, is it the lowest or the second lowest expected goals?
The lowest. They got 4.1 and they scored 4 goals.
It's pretty bleak, isn't it? Second season syndrome, but the thing is with Morecambe, they probably shouldn't be at this level, given the history at the football club and given the budgets and all that. The promotion was a bit of a freak year. Don't get me wrong, we're very happy to have them at League One because it's an interesting story. But yeah, just nights like Sheffield Wednesday at home, you've got to make more of it. And last night they just completely they just rolled over and let Wednesday hit them like a punching bag. So I think Morecambe will be disappointed, but Wednesday that's a really good result, because going to Morecambe last year, who might have been on a high from surviving, etc., they might have lost this game last year, given the fact they give 3 points almost to everyone away from home. So yeah, good result for Wednesday for Morecambe. The sirens are going off in the back of your mind, surely, and they might well be looking at another managerial change. You just have to wait and see.
Yeah, agree. I think Derek Adams is a very good manager when it comes off. when it doesn't come off, you don't want to watch his style of play because it is a little bit dull. It is very defensive. And there's no wonder why that expected goals is the lowest. They don't really create many chances. Stockton was back in the team yesterday. It's good to see that he's playing football. He's getting on with it with a difficult situation. Wednesday's goals came. They were good for 70 minutes more. They probably could have been 1-up at half time. Corner came in, Barry Bannon, cheat code, goal. Barry Bannon, another corner, cheat code, goal. And then a ball comes in from a general play, header out, second balls again. I've spoken about this so many times last year. If you don't win second balls when you're in a relegation battle, you won't win games and you go and get relegated. As simple as that. And it's criminal what they did. It's a good finish by Bryers, who's a good player at this level. Windass is up and running now. You've got Smith up and running, like you say, as well. It's really good to see Wednesday on a roll. The problem is, I just don't think they can do it on the level of Ipswich or Portsmouth at this moment in time. They're just outside of that as well. But, great win away from home, 3-0, sold out away. And Morecambe, their games won't be defined on these games as well. So I think it's a bit harsh that, if we give them the relegation candidate after that. Yeah, I know they haven't won at home yet. They haven't won in the league yet. I think it's 12 games altogether, carrying on from last year without a win. The last win came on Easter Friday where they beat Charlton away from home by 2-1, where Arthur Ganoa got a brace. He's not in the side at the moment. You're out with Ash Hunter as well. So you've got to remember they have got players out of an already small squad. A squad that doesn't really have much talent compared to a Sheffield Wednesday side who bring Marvin Johnson, who's a championship player, off the bench as well. But next, Peterborough United 0.
Yeah.
Fleetwood Town 1.
You go steady, because I was going to build it up, Ben, right? So I know this is the moment of the stream you've been waiting for because you've not stopped talking to me about it for about 24 hours mainly now. Now, Ben, when we played Peterborough a few weeks ago, I said they're the best team that I've seen because they tore us apart, and Peterborough can do that. Peterborough last night didn't do that to Fleetwood. I was avidly checking the score on Sky Sports during the game. Obviously, I saw you go your goal up, Mr. Vera, popping up and scoring. I thought from that moment on, I thought you'd sit deep and let Peterborough just go and absolutely bully and roll over. I was hoping so because then we'd be above you in the league table. Turns out you guys were just nasty buggers and managed to shithouse a 1-0 win away at Peterborough. Talk to us and tell it. If you've not seen the video, by the way, go and check it down on his channel feed. It's a really good watch. Really enjoyed that on my lunch break, Ben. So thank you very much. Talk to us. Posh 0, Fleetwood Uno.
Superb. Absolutely. For the first time in 2.5 years, I was proud of my football club last night. Was I proud when we said up in League One? Yeah, no. More relieved than proud. Ipswich away, Portsmouth away, just before lockdown. Where we went to difficult places and got results. And Portsmouth we drew 2-2 after being down. We beat Ipswich 1-0. These types of games, we were on a 12-game unbeaten run. It was the last time I remember being this bad. And yesterday we went a goal up. And was it against Runner play? Yeah. But for me, I said at the time, Fleetwood are going to go through 65 minutes of difficult moments. There'll be easy moments and there'll be difficult moments. And where last year we won't roll over, we didn't last night. Josh Vella in the midfield got us through. I said he needed to do that. Him and Dan Batty were brilliant in midfield. You got Josh Hill, who I didn't think had his best game yesterday, but still commanded that back line with Toto and Rooney, an absolute machine. He can tell how much he puts into the game because 75-80 minutes in the game he is dead to the water, and that's what you want to see. There was bodies flying in, skidding across the surface to get a block in. There was passes being made. We were trying to play football. We brought something on at the right time, and you don't go to London Road and play expansive football. You go to have a battle and go and win 1-0. That's what we did yesterday, and we frustrated them. Have that. I'm buzzing. 59 fans of us went yesterday. We got slaughtered. I don't care. I've said many times, the number of fans you take to a game does not win games. The quality of the fans win you games. Like I've said about Lincoln, like I said about Portsmouth, like I said about Wednesday, Ipswich, Bolton, Wigan over the years as well. They win your games of football. And, 59 of us, a lot of Peterborough fans said to me as well, we couldn't hear you when you score. I couldn't hear them when they scored either. So, brilliant result, 1-0. Have that, 3 points, 7 unbeaten. The run goes on. And, Peterborough, a good side. They've got some good players. Not many teams will go there and win this year. Said that about Portsmouth when he went to go and draw. I think they've won the last 3 games since you've been there. So, brilliant result. It was a free hit yesterday. Absolutely buzzing. And up the Josh Vella. Come on.
Yeah, I wouldn't take anything from any posh fans talking about supporters, Ben. They are one of the worst sets of fan base in this division, no doubt about it. They're just their atmosphere at home is horrendous. You would have seen it. They only cheer when they score, so forget them.
Agree. Just before we go on, if you're looking for a right back, he's our Glaswegian. It's basically the Paterson's on. If you're looking for a right back, he's our Glaswegian, Super Sean Rooney, somewhere running down the right wing, either Fleetwood Boyson, Super Sean Rooney, something like that. He's all right, to be fair, but hearing it till 2 a.m. on the bus home when you're trying to get some sleep with the odd Rooney in between. He wasn't my best friend last night after the game, but he's a warrior. And one thing I will say about Fleetwood, Scott Brown has got us a nasty shithousing team, and I love it, baby.
Yeah, he wasn't my best mate either, Ben, when you guys came up here last month. Didn't like him at all. Right, we're going to Plymouth then, Ben. Is that where we're going?
We'll go Plymouth. Great
win.
We're
going Plymouth. Familiar goal scorer for me specifically, maybe not for you. Morgan Whittaker, 1-0 win for Plymouth. Really good result, actually, I think. Oxford have looked better than what they've been in recent weeks. I think they've been better than what they certainly have shown. But Plymouth, what can you say? Where you look at MK Dons and they've completely fallen off a cliff, Plymouth have literally laid the foundations and have only gone and done better than what they were last year for me. This time last year, similar position. However, I don't think Argyle are going to slip off like they did last year. They've got quality, and Morgan Whittaker is a player that I know can do it and likes a goal against Oxford United. Funny enough, scored for us against the U's as well last season at home. So, look, for Plymouth, a really good result. For Oxford, I think Plymouth are just one of those sides that are better than them. I don't think there's any shame in saying that. I'm sure Oxford will have a good season, but they just need to get their arse in gear. But then they need to start winning games ugly, because that's what they need to learn. Obviously, they played Morecambe at home a few weeks ago and only got a point out of that. They need to start winning these sorts of games, and maybe their season won't be defined against Plymouth because they're so far ahead of them. I don't know what you think, Ben, but for me, Argyle just look on an absolute locomotive towards the top 6 at the moment.
Yeah, agree. Oxford are one of 4 sides with less expected goals than they've actually scored. Only Burton, Derby and Morecambe have scored less than what they've been expected. And that for an Oxford side isn't normal, really. Normally they are the ones that expect the most goals. Normally where Ipswich are at 11, 12 kind of marker, and you can see you can score an extra 3 or 4 goals across those 8 games are probably in the playoffs. You've got to remember there are only 3 points off the playoffs, but this is so unlike an Oxford side that normally create chances through the wide men, through getting balls into the box, through the midfielders as well. I don't know, is it third season syndrome? Are they struggling to go again? Are they struggling to get a run going? You've got to remember they don't always start fast, and they've played some tough sides so far this season as well. Plymouth are an excellent side. I think they're one of only 2 sides to have 100%, no, 3 sides, Cambridge, them and Ipswich, to win every home game so far. 12 points, and they're doing it in style. Plymouth, they beat Bolton at home by a goal. Now Finn Azaz on the day scored the goal. This time it was a Morgan Whittaker style, and they've got different players for different occasions. They won 6 out of the first 8. They won 5 out of the last 6 games as well. They're keeping clean sheets. They're keeping it tight at the back. A couple, 10 points from 16 for Oxford isn't a disaster. Would they like more? Of course. They need to start picking up results sooner rather than later. And Carl Robinson, I wouldn't sack him just yet because I think he's a very good manager. And I don't think he got what he wanted in the summer. I know he got Brannigan on a new deal, but I think they're 2 or 3 players short, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah, massively agree with Oxford. Obviously, I've got mates who are big Oxford fans, and they're starting.
The young fan, by the way, he's an Oxford fan. He produces some unbelievable content on League One, so go and check him out.
Agreed. Really enjoy his rundowns of the games on a Sunday morning. Really, really good stuff, mate.
Very talented lad. So he deserves a lot. So give him a subscription.
Yeah, my mate, who's a big Oxford fan, he pretty much goes home and away. He's starting to hear a few more murmurings now regarding Carl Robinson and the displeasures of the football that they're playing. Like I said, they've struggled at home. They've not been great away either. So, I think they got, what did they get? They get something like 8 points from 16 games, or 16 points from 16 games, didn't they? Towards the back end of that year, they snuck into the playoffs, and then they managed to finish in the top 6 anyway. So,
yeah,
if you're Oxford, you're seriously hoping that the lack of recruitment isn't going to hinder you in any way. But there's just so many teams that have leapfrogged them this season, and it's going to be a real challenge for Oxford to finish back in the top 6. Obviously, they missed out last year, so worried if you're an Oxford fan, I think. But for Plymouth, you've got to be as high as a kite, really.
Yeah, Shrewsbury or Wycombe next. Where do you want to go to? I'll leave it up to you.
We might as well go to the one that's got goals in it, haven't we? Salop, big win for Salop against Exeter. Exeter, who have done really well since coming up to the level, got some really good wins under the belt, especially at home. Obviously beating MK Dons at home. However, back down to earth with a bump after the win against on Saturday the other week. Shrewsbury, obviously, they're only a point off the playoffs, aren't they? One side that I think you were calling dark horses for the playoffs. Look to be doing pretty well. Ben, with that call so far.
That was last year.
That
was last year.
Was it last year?
It still rolls over though, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think I don't see why it shouldn't, Ben. I'll give you that. I'm just going to drag the game up. 2 defenders score and a 93rd minute winner. What is there not to love? Obviously, 2-0 Exeter, 2-0 up. Exeter thinking, oh yeah, this is all right. This 2-0 up. As I know, thanks to Fleetwood. However, never game over, is it? Because Shrewsbury come roaring back, 3 goals, 2 defenders, Shea Dunkley, 93rd minute. I imagine if Shrewsbury fans are able to have limbs, there probably was limbs thrown at the meadow. What do you call it now? Is it the meadow? I've not been for a while.
You know something, right? I'll be honest with you. I hate modern day football for the fact, right? What annoys me, I went to Western Home Stadiums. It's not. It's London Road, Sincil Bank. No, it's Sincil Bank. Shrewsbury. Oh, stop calling it these fancy names, and sponsorship is killing football.
What is it?
That's another time for another video.
Yeah, I don't even know what it is, Ben. Is it? It's Montgomery
Gay Meadows or something.
Yeah, ridiculous. But I am happy to see Tom Bayliss on the score sheet.
Oh, I love him. I think he's brilliant. Him and Jordan Shipley are brilliant, aren't they?
Yeah. It was at Wigan, wasn't he? I've spoken to my mate Bowers, who's a big Wigan fan. Didn't really think he was too good at Wigan. In and out the side last year at Wigan, but really, really come into his own now that he's been given that slot in midfield where he can impact the play, and he looks like he's doing that, doesn't he? But for Exeter, that they probably didn't play as well as they could do in that last hour of the game. I'm sure Matty Taylor will be on at them to improve. But solid starts for both of these teams, who you'd expect to finish lower mid-table, seem to be flirting with those top 6 spaces at the moment. Whether they're there at the end of the season, you don't know. But we have a feeling that there's going to be one team that isn't supposed to be up there, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's either of these 2 teams based on their current form.
Yeah, agree. Tom Bayliss, I think, has got a goal in his last game and got an assist in yesterday, which is really good to see. 2-0 down, brilliant spirit shown from Shrewsbury. You were looking at the 3rd worst away team in the league, and Exeter, who's only picked up 2 points, playing the 2nd to worst team going into the game in Shrewsbury, who'd only picked up a point at home. Obviously, a frustrating side, losing to Ipswich, losing to Accrington, at home, but away from home, they're unbeaten. So that's where the frustration has come from. Shrewsbury, obviously, in the last 3 games, have played newly promoted sides and got good results. Exeter they beat, Forest Green Rovers they beat, and went away at Bristol Rovers. Probably the toughest place out the lot to go, in my opinion, just for the crowd and how the stadium's built. And it is maybe a more rundown and a more terracey Fratton Park, really. I would compare it. And, Exeter are a good side. They're good at home, steady. You look at the goal scorers that scored. Sweeney, I think, has got over 250 appearances at Exeter. And Jonathan Ground has played all over. He played at Birmingham in the Championship. He's a good addition there as well. So they've got a lot of experience there, Exeter, and they've got goal scorers other than the Sam Nomble, and Giovanni Brown. Who are good players who will score you goals. Disappointing to lose in that way, but brilliant spirit. Pennington with a goal, Che Dunkley with a goal as well. So I really like Shrewsbury. The scoring goals, which they're not always famous for under Cottrell. Normally they're a bit more of a involved in 70 goals a season compared to the average being about 80 odd. But a brilliant result, and that'll kick them on now for the season. And they're on 12 points, and there's no reason why they can't challenge. I said to you this morning, didn't I, Jake, as soon as we had a little chat before coming on air, I honestly believe there'll be a couple of teams that shock us this year, because Derby are miles off, Barnsley are miles off, MK Dons are miles off, Oxford are miles off. These teams that normally challenge, there is an opportunity there at this moment in time for teams to be up there. Exeter are having a little go. You've got Cambridge in the near enough in the playoffs at the moment. You've got Bolton really doing well. There's going to be a couple of shocks, and I think the top four at this moment in time are so unbelievably good. It is going to be so hard to catch them.
Yeah, it looks like then that there's probably going to be maybe 12, 13 teams vying for those 2 playoff spots that we've got that are left. Because you say the top 4 are pretty much looking like they're going to run off with it. So, and the good thing for Shrewsbury, Ben, is that Daniel Udo didn't even score last night, and they scored 3 goals. Who was their main man up front last year? So, right, are you going to talk me through Wycombe 1, Accrington 0? Because we're worried for Accrington, aren't we?
I watched it. I watched about 5 minutes of the highlights, and something. To be honest with you, Jake, I actually thought I clicked on the Anis Meheti skill shot completion against Accrington. Every highlight that Wycombe did came through that man. A ball in for Sam Vokes that he should score. Every time he cut in, forced to keep into a good save. He was so good. Like, how hasn't an Ipswich or a Portsmouth or a Plymouth or a side, maybe got a little bit more money than Wycombe come in for him? He is, for me, one of the best players in League One, and he's proven that. He scored a brilliant goal where he cut inside after doing a couple of, skill, a little bit of skill, which I don't mind the odd skill. I don't really like players flicking the ball, but he can get away with it because he makes it look easy. Brilliant player. Good win for Wycombe. That they're on a little bit of a run. I think they've got 8 points from the last 4. They've won 2, drawn 2. I think they drew against Charlton at home, Fleetwood away. They've beaten Accrington at home, and they beat Barnsley away from home as well. So it's a decent little run for them. At Accrington, if you look at it, they drew the opening day and won the second game. They've only got 3 points since. That's 3 draws, 3 defeats. They've gone away at Forest Green, lost. Away at Wycombe on a Tuesday night again and lost. And they don't look like scoring, really. Matt Lowe looks miles off it. There's some Accrington fans, right, that are turning on John Coleman. And I'm like, I'm not being funny. The squad is not good enough, in my opinion. Like, a couple of players short. What they've got to realise is I think maybe they could have come to an end of a cycle. And don't ever want to write Accrington off because I respect what they're like. But it's going to happen eventually. Andy Holt said it many times. Burnley did it. They got found out. Sometimes you lose a couple of players to help the club run and the cycle ends. John Coleman will go nowhere. Andy Holt's even said that on Twitter publicly. He will not go anywhere. There'll still be a lot of life in Accrington because of how they fight, but I just can't see him scoring many goals at this moment in time. I still think they're 3 or 4 players off. Yeah,
no, worried for Accrington based on the last couple of performances. Obviously, they had the game against Forest Green when we were last live that they fell to a defeat to. Obviously, not had the chance to put that right on Saturday either, and obviously then last night also a really poor performance. Like you say, football is all about cycles, and sometimes for the benefit of the football club, you have to get rid of these players and bring in some cash purely because you might have overspent here, you might have overspent there, So Accrington, like you say, under Coleman, you can never write them off. However, this year they do look a little bit more doomed and involved in the bottom scrap than what they did this time last year. Because I think this time last year they were pretty much flirting with the top six as well.
Yeah, they were towards the end of last season, mate. Like,
yeah,
if you look at the form of the last 16 games or something like that, they were, especially at home, they've not won at home as well. If you look at that, they've not won at home. Which last year I think they won 14 games at home, something like that.
Yeah, and the thing with Wickham is that they're trying. Obviously, this year at home they've not been as good as what they probably normally are. Obviously, they had the defeat to Shrewsbury thrown in there, so they're probably wanting to get back to that home mentality that they've always had. But Anis Mehmeti, I think we speak about him every time we speak about Wickham because at the moment he's the main man, isn't he? And I think they're falling out with Gareth McCleary after his red card, and what a player to come and replace him and score a load of goals.
I've got a question for you because Accrington lost two big players in the summer in Ross Sykes and Colby Bishop. Yep. In your opinion, who do you think they're missing? Because if I had to pick, normally I'd go for the defender because I like keeping clean sheets. But in this instance, I don't think Accrington are conceding many goals. Like, for me, they're not so weak defensively. Yeah, Ipswich beat them. They're going to do that. The good sides will beat those types of sides because, no one's getting anywhere near Ipswich at the minute. They went away at Shrewsbury and put a valiant Accrington away performance in as well. Actually, many times with Fleetwood. For me, Colby Bishop scores you 15, 20 goals. He scored 5 in a better side at Porto where he's going to have more chances. But he's something to hit. He's something to give an outlook to, and he can do a lot of things right. For me, it's the goals that Accrington are missing. Those 20 goals are the difference between 40 points and 60 points.
Based on the fact I spoke to an Aki fan this time last week, I'm going to say Sykes. Purely based on Sykes used to be sometimes be the scapegoat. Callum told me, said that sometimes he got criticism unfairly, but then you take him out of the team and you realise what you're missing when he went off to Belgium. So for me, Ross Sykes was a very good defender at the level, and clearly Accrington have been able to replace him. I think you have to also factor in that Sykes scored a few goals from corners as well. They're missing Michael Nottingham, who used to play next to him. So for me, Ross Sykes is probably the bigger miss. Colby Bishop is a wonderful football player, and I'm sure he'll go on the squad bags for Pompey. But Sykes for me was such an integral part of that team. You really notice when he's missing. So yeah, I'll disagree with you for the content, Ben.
Love it. Boxing match soon, eh?
You stand no chance, Ben.
Oh, bring it on. Pints after, though. Again, there's been a quick comment before we come into a couple of weekends games that I want to discuss. We're not going to go through them all. We'll obviously have them out on different channels as well. And we'll go through the bigger games as well. Thoughts on Wigan so far? I probably should be saying this online, but I've got notification on for Wigan because I want them to do really well. I actually really respect Wigan. Brilliant result last night. Nighy again, 2-1 win. Limbs in the away end, and going under radar. I think they went at Birmingham recently. They got a decent result away at Luton. It's good to see. Sunderland doing okay as well. They're away at Reading tonight as well. So the sides that left us last year, are doing pretty okay.
Yeah, I've got a gripe to pick with Wigan. You bought Scully and you've not even played him yet. So if you guys want to start playing him so we can earn a bit more money from the deal, that would be much appreciated. No,
and Rotherham, by the way, sorry to interrupt, are going really under the radar. I don't think they've lost at home going into the game with Blackpool tonight.
Well, conflicting interests for me there if it's Rotherham, Blackpool, but Norton Coffey and Michael Appleton. So we should have to see. But Wigan, really want Wigan to do well. And it's from a biased point of view with Anthony Scully. I want Scully to go on and perform well at the Championship. And I think I said this on the Progress with Unity podcast a few weeks ago. I don't think there's a better club for Scully to go to in the Championship, purely because he's likely to play a lot of minutes. He fits in with the style of play because he likes to cut in on that right foot and score goals, and he can do it wonderfully, as Ben will tell you. The promoted boys doing really well. Really happy. I don't think we'll be seeing any of them, especially when it comes to the end of this season. I'll be very surprised if we do. I think we'll have a couple of new names to be talking about when it comes to the next season's lineup.
Yeah. Let's just quickly go through again some sides the first 8 games of the season. We spoke in depth about Ipswich, Wednesday, Plymouth, Portsmouth. We think those 4 are so far ahead of the rest. The way the expected goals, the expected chances, the goals per game, the goals against per game. Plymouth are unbeaten at home. Portsmouth are unbeaten at home, 10 points. You only decided to take points off them. Or Lincoln City with a valiant performance, and to keep them at bay is a good achievement. Peterborough again, frustrating result yesterday. They've been up and down. I said in rough moments, I don't think they have enough. And I've actually sprouted a good opinion for once, Jake. It's come true in the last couple of games. Away at Portsmouth in difficult moments, they lost. In good moments where they're 2-0 up, you see the style and they turn it on. Just, for me, they don't have the grit of the top 4, and that is the difference at this league. And then you've got Bolton, for me, who are at similar points at home to Derby County, who've won 3 out of 4, but Bolton is so far ahead of Derby at this moment in time. And then your teams that are struggling, I think you've got to have a look at MK Dons, who are so flat, Morecambe, Accrington, and then your team like Forest Green, doing okay, but also the likes of Fleetwood, Shrewsbury Town, Lincoln City, picking up the odd good result and way above where they should be.
Well, way above where we should be. I don't know.
Well, Fleetwood are 12th, mate.
Yeah, well, yeah, Fleetwood are 12. Yeah, but we're not way above.
Sorry, I forgot we were above, and you're going to wear a Fleetwood shirt at the end of the year. Sorry, mate.
Right, you're 1 point above, and you've won.
Mind the gap.
Mind the gap. Right.
I'm honestly, one of my best mates is a Derby fan, right? And we've been mates for 3 or 4 years, right? And I've always wanted to play Derby, and obviously it came true. And we're on the same points, but they're on -1 goals. We're on +1. And I just went, mind the gap, mate, mind the gap. Because Fleetwood being above Derby County in the league, I don't care if it's by 1 goal scored. We're above Derby County in the league. And it's like 10, 15 years ago, we were in the 7th tier, 8th tier. They were pushing for the promotion.
Screenshot it, Ben. Screenshot.
Mate, that's already been done a long time ago. That's how much level. I don't think I've done it. I thought the 3 points might have got taken off for us.
Yeah, no, look, this is why we said earlier in the show that League One is literally so fascinating, because you've got teams that are not supposed to be up there at all, up there, and then you've got teams that probably shouldn't really be down there, really, like MK Dons, Bristol Rovers are a good side that are down in the bottom 4. You weren't expecting it. So, yeah, no, really, really impressive, the standard of League One. I think it is a lot more competitive than last year, which is good to see from a supporter from a lower club like yourself and me as well. So, yeah, I mean, obviously you've got your fantastic teams like Pompey and Plymouth and that lot, but a good start means nothing, Ben, because Ipswich could, say Ipswich because they're top of the league, they could go win and lose the next 5 games or something and be in the bottom half. You never know. So just enjoy the success while it lasts. Just remember that if you are going through a tough period, that they don't last either. You will come out the brighter side, and hopefully we'll have a good and fair result when May hits and everyone's happy with where they finished, apart from Fleetwood.
We say it all the time though. Every team will go through a 5-game bad period. Every team will. And last year, the only team to not do that was Wigan Athletic. They won the league. If you don't go through it, you're going to go up. You're going to have bad afternoons. Peter had one yesterday. So we'll come on to a couple of games in a minute. But if you could like this stream, it would be appreciated. It does really help. There's 658 in the stream. Let's see if we can all hit a like and subscribe down below. We're just over 500 away from 10,000. That was my lifelong subscriber goal, believe it or not. So if you could help me out, get your friends involved. Get your family involved, get them to subscribe as well for more League One content. Before we go into a couple of games at the weekend, before a little Q&A, Jake, give your channel a little plug. I know we did it before. You're doing really well with the content as well. An excellent blog from Gary this morning on the website as well about the game last night. Talk us about the Stacey West.
Yeah, so we're a team of probably about 5 or 6 of us. We have a website, the Stacey West, which focuses on written content about Lincoln City. It's not just the current stuff, it's about stuff in the past, things like that. A lot of good opinion stuff on there. You've got the podcast, obviously, that goes out every Friday at 12 o'clock. We've got 4 people that do that, myself included. So if you do want to listen to me talk about Lincoln against your team, I probably will be on it at some point. And then the YouTube, which is something that I've taken ownership of over the last couple of years or so. We do a preview show where we get an opposition fan on, which is how I met this man. Still not used to it. And then we do a West End Imp show, which is basically a quick rundown of the game as well. So if you did see me looking at my laptop, it's because I am trying to edit and render this video so that it's up tonight. Ben will know the stresses of being a YouTuber. Trying to get your content out on time.
Oh, mate. If you ask anyone what I am like, honestly, I am the worst. I get in such a bad mood over it, right? Because I had someone at 7:30 go, no video tonight. I'm like, mate. So literally, as soon as I leave them at 5 o'clock, the edit starts. I'm deleting the videos I don't want, putting them all together, cutting the interviews, trimming them a little bit here and there to get it down to a sizable video because I don't want it too long. Don't want it to. You can notice on my channel, I like it between 11 and 14, 15 minutes as well. I don't like it being too long. And if it does, the problem is editing I can get done, but it's the uploading part that, when you're on the coach and it's taking so long. So if it is ever late, you know why it is an absolute stress. But you're an entrepreneur. You're basically Gary Neville here, there, everywhere.
Yeah.
I've got this on Monday, this on Tuesday.
Yeah, I'm panicking because I've got a Bristol Rovers fan to come on but I'd ideally get him on tonight, but he's at work. So I normally have the preview up on a Thursday lunchtime, but it might have to be a Friday this week because Charlie's at work. So shout out Charlie, one of his vlogs while he's here if he's
exactly watching. Brilliant lad. Yes, I am on TikTok. FTFC Nappers if you want to unplug it, and FTFC Nappers on Twitter. And if you want to go and follow both. Again, I did a little bit of a rant on 59 fans before, which my TikTok's not stopped all day. And go and follow Jake's Twitter account, which is
Jake_Tong98. Come and give me a follow. I'm trying to get to 1,000 followers on Twitter. We're nearly there.
Cheers, Tony. And we'll have 4 or 5 minutes of a Q&A. Let's go for it. Ask any questions you want. We'll do it quick fire to get as many in as possible. There's over 50 people still in the stream. Thank you very much for your support. Again, I love doing these shows. For me, the best types of shows to do because you get a roundup. I'll be honest with you, an hour and a half every day before doing a show, doing the little bits of stats, doing the show notes. For me, I love nothing more than a stat as well. So talking to Jake, talking with you guys, it's an absolute pleasure. So thank you very much for those who watches, who gets relegated. At this moment in time, it's so hard to predict. I can't see past Burton. I know you just brought in, what was it, the ex-Middlesbrough man? What's he called? Oh my God, it's escaped my attention. You'll have to remind me, Brewers TV. So much going on in my mind. Was it Mustafa Carriol? That was it. Mustafa Carriol, that was it.
Him.
Who come in a winger. I think I'm going to go Burton. Morecambe look gone for me. Yeah. Don't think they score enough goals. Forest Green look weak. I think they're another one. The other one. Are you reading my mind? Moment in time.
Are you reading my mind?
Accrington. They don't score goals.
Right, well, there's no debate because that is my exact bottom 4.
Is it?
That I was literally looking at the table and going, in my head I'm going Burton. You go Burton. I go Morecambe. Well, then I look at Forest Green. I go, yeah, they're in trouble. And then Accrington, I go, it's between them and Port Vale. I'm thinking Accrington are worse at the moment, so I'm going to say, do you know what, Ben? You do it, mate. I'll just sit here and be the pretty one.
To be fair, I think we do carry the show every day, don't we? I'm only joking. Post fan, but I am been following Cosvlogs for years. Ben's a fantastic job. Thank you very much, Mark. I really do appreciate that. Which team will drop off first? Portsmouth, Ipswich, or Plymouth? Honestly, I'm not just saying this. I don't think either team will drop off as such. If you mean lose a couple of games or go on a bad run, but if you mean drop off as in, they just don't win as many games now, and they drop outside the playoffs. Like, do you remember when Gillingham were like top of the league after like 10 games or 15 games, and then they finished like 13th that year? If you mean like that, none.
If I can see one of them having a bad patch,
I think
purely
it's Plymouth.
because players have teams will see what they do and try and frustrate the living hell out of them. I would say Pompey at the moment, purely
Yeah, I
because
think playing 4-4-2,
yeah,
you can match them up and go, banks of 4, or even what you could do, go to a back 3. You've got 3 on 2. You've got the wing backs who will play quite defensive as well in this role, and then you've got 3 against 2 in midfield where you can overrun them in midfield. Their midfield 2, by the way, at Portsmouth is like a midfield 3. This is the problem you've got in Marlon Packers, Lowry, everyone you can name, and then you've got a front 2 who face 2 on 2, and wing back goes wing for wing back. So I think that maybe a Plymouth or a Peterborough could get a tune out of Portsmouth. No, obviously Peterborough went to Portsmouth and they lost, but I think the scoreline didn't really reflect the game, if I'm honest with you. But I do agree with Paul. But I think Plymouth, you can frustrate them as well. I've seen it with Fleetwood earlier on in the season. I don't think Ipswich, though, for me. I hate to say it because I don't want Ipswich to win every game of football because it's unfair. They've got so many good players.
Yeah, nothing added, Ben.
It's a fancy team, isn't it? You know what I mean? Chaplin. I think Tony asked me how much money this man. I think $1.5 million. They signed the fullback, didn't they, for over $1 million, and a couple of others for a couple of $100,000 here and there. But have they got one of the biggest budgets and the best squads in the league? Yeah, but they've got a very good, talented manager, and they deserve to be where they are. And there's no complaints from me. And it's good to see them actually put it into practice. Kyle Rapper, but yeah,
not like your mate Joey Barton to moan about. And was it last night?
Oh, I know. Carriel, he's a good player. But this is the problem when you sign free agents. They're always so unfit. And Burton, he plays now like that.
I don't know, Ben. We had Carriel the year we got relegated out of the Football League. Just look disinterested in a team that didn't make any opportunities. And if I'm honest, I can, all right, Matt, get lost. I can see parallels in that team to the Burton team at the moment. So I think he might struggle, actually.
But mate, please don't bring that up because I'll tell you a story about that. There's a big group chat, right, of all those lads that go to the games. About funny enough, right, there's 59 of us in that group, right. Not all of us went yesterday, of course. And they were saying, should we do it? And I didn't put anything. I was hoping not because I personally I got told on the Thursday I was going to pull a sickie. Didn't believe it, not. And then they made it. Then they had it, and I thought, something. Quite funny this. I never thought he'd come to us. And I said this many times, didn't I, to you on the show. He's not coming. He won't come. Morecambe won't sell to us, regardless, whatever fee we give him. He might want to come to us. I don't think he ever pushed for a move to us. But, yeah, it was never my veggie. I didn't want that. And you can just bloody see it. He's going to score the winner in February if he's still at Morecambe in the small chance. Imagine halfway line last minute again. Oh my God! If that happens, Tom's gonna have to take over my role on this channel. Forest Green, Morecambe, Burton, and Accrington, unless it's a shot like MK Dons. That midfield of Dale and Pack is absolutely unreal. Oh, Dale, he didn't cut it at the Championship. He scored a couple of good goals away at Barnsley last year for Blackpool, but he's such a good player, isn't he, Owen Dale? If you think about the players Crewe have brought through, I know the rumored to have one of the best. Well, not rumored. They're renowned for having some of the best academy players come through them over the last few years, who've moved on, like Finney and a couple of others. But you think Lowry, you think Dale. Some of these players are absolute ballers.
Yeah, they all came through at the same time, though, Ben, and that was the end of the cycle for Crewe. Could be happening with Accrington.
Pompey will fall off. They won't get automatic, and Wendy always make it hard to get automatic. It's League One. It's a marathon. Not Ipswich like me. Lau Taylor and Harry Arter both left out of Forest 25. Both available for loan. Could do a job in League One. Even an history of loaning Forest players.
Can't afford them.
Say again.
Can't afford them.
Yeah.
There's no chance we can afford to pay Lau Taylor what he wants in a wage. No chance. I'd love
Ipswich will just do something to get around the FFP or to sign him, or they always do. They always find a way, which I like about him. He's always one step ahead of you. Freddie Ladapo hasn't hit the ground running. I think his performance is Freddie Ladapo. He got an assist yesterday. Has been so much better than not scoring, and I just worry that is he turning into an ex-Joe Pigott? He needs that goal for me. And it wouldn't surprise me if someone like him went there, or a low-end league championship club like maybe a side just above the relegation, like a Rotherham or a Blackpool or a Wigan if they're short on strikers at the end of the year. But a lot of those clubs are doing really well on the top half, never mind the bottom half. Filling me with confidence then, Jake, about Mustafa Carriol.
Yeah.
Mate, we all thought it was done and dusted. He looked a little bit, can I just say, I don't know if you agree. I know I'm one for talking, but he looked a little bit overweight, shall I say, yesterday, Stockton. I saw a couple of pictures. I don't know if it was the angle that it was taken from, but he didn't look fit. Like, I know he's not played much, but he's still surely training. He just didn't look fit, like normally, because normally he's like a League One Erling Haaland, an absolute monster. I just thought Carl Stockton is a little bit stocky there. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know your thoughts on that. Did he play okay? I know there's a nice little link up that he gave into the lad on loan from Huddersfield. Was it Phillips who should have scored? If that goes in, Jake, it's 1-0, isn't it?
Yeah, different game.
We'll just come to last of the comments. He played 60 minutes last night. He was booed and cheered 50-50. MK Dons instead of Shrimpole. Lyle Taylor to Posh, maybe? He started his career there, didn't he?
I don't think so.
No, that's Dwight Gale. I get the two mixed up. They're so similar in terms of small striker running in behind the channels.
Yeah, just Lyle Taylor's got massive hair. That's all.
Yeah, he needs a couple more games. Adrian's playing really well, but a few big games coming. I think that will happen for every club in League One as well. Stockton to Rotherham in January. You never know. I think we'll end the stream here. Again, thank you very much, Jake, for joining me. I hope you did enjoy it, mate. Any final words?
Not really. Just I think we're a bit more positive this week because we've both won games of football.
We were a bit grumpy last week, I think.
Yeah, because especially from my point of view, Nappers, I was doing 12-hour shifts and coming back, and I think I had maybe 15 minutes to prepare myself and eat last week. So if I look miserable, it's because I was absolutely knackered. So all refreshed today, busting for the wows, but up the imps, Ben, and hopefully we can go on a bit of a run and back it up and shut Joey Barton up on Saturday because I want nothing more at the moment.
Oh, I bet. And again, guys, thanks very much for watching. I hope you did enjoy it. Again, please leave a like as you leave the channel as well. That'd be massively appreciated. Hit subscribe if you haven't done already. Hit notification bell if you haven't already. You'll get notified every time we upload a vlog or go live as well with Jay. Until next time, I'll see you very much later. We're back on Saturday. Shout on at home. And we'll see you next Monday for the next League One Roundup. Got the cards.
Of the imps.